going on, sweaties? It's Jon Schnepp here, and I'm knocking shit over. We are going to get R-rated. We're going to talk about Deadpool. This is a very special episode, number 45, all Deadpool episode. I've got a host of people who've seen the movie with me. We're going to get into it. So it's a spoiler-filled episode. I just want to let you know, if you haven't seen Deadpool yet, you should have. You should have all seen it by now. The weekend, I should have won that bet with Chris Gore. But if you haven't seen it yet, do not watch this episode. Go see Deadpool, then come back, tag this, subscribe, make sure you got this locked down, then watch this because we're going to get deep into it. With me today, we got Umberto Gonzalez from Heroic Hollywood. What's up, Umberto?
What's popping, cool kids? Yo, Deadpool.
Bam.
Deadpool. We rocking the shirts from the screen.
Triplicates, yo. We got over here Robert Meyer Burnett. What's up?
It's good to be here. Good to be here. I'm happy to be on with you, and happy to be on with you, Steve.
Yes, and over here, Collider Master Steve Frosty Weintraub. What's going on?
Thank you for having me on. And
you're like King Collider.
King Collider.
I've never been called that before.
You've never been called King Collider?
That sounds like it's a Deadpool villain. King Collider, you're back.
No, thank you for having me on. And as you can tell, I'm wearing the shirt to represent Deadpool.
That's right. Not made in China. It's banned in China. That's right.
I didn't mean for that to happen, but I'm glad it worked out.
It's a happy accident. You know what happy accident that happened? All of us saw Deadpool last week, Wednesday, at Steve. He had a special Collider IMAX team up. It was like a superhero team up. We saw it over at the IMAX headquarters in tasty laser etched vision. What is this crazy laser beam version of IMAX? What is it called?
No longer just light, man.
Right?
It's lasers that are projecting the image. And it was star-studded. Thank you for that. Your screening series is amazing.
It was popping.
Had the Russo over there. It's had some Captain America dudes. What else was going on? Simon Kinberg showed up.
What's the American Idol guy? Chris Daughtry?
Oh, Chris Daughtry, of course, man.
There were a number of people there. I want to thank IMAX for letting us do the series. For people that don't know, we have a year-long IMAX screening series. Thanks to them, and we've shown a few movies already, and I'm developing some stuff for the future, which I think all three of you are going to be very happy about.
Awesome.
It was amazing.
Yeah.
And you had director Tim Miller there.
Yeah.
And I could go tell him, and with your lovely lady Holly, how great it was to have a Judy Blume, "Are you there, God? It's me, Margaret" joke, which might be one of my favorite moments in Deadpool.
Well, hey, speaking of Deadpool, let's get right into this. Starting from the very opening credits, incredible 3D graphic pull through that just starts you laughing right out of the gates. You're cracking up. I could not stop laughing. What are some of the best title credits that you remember?
Directed by, produced by Asshats, directed by Studio Tool.
The writers were the real heroes. And it's funny, when that credit came up, there were people spattering bits of applause throughout, and I'm like, oh, the writers are here.
Yeah.
The writers are
here. It was really good. It was really fun.
I think that also sets the tone for the entire movie.
Absolutely.
And I think that the one thing that I took away from the film, I've seen it twice, is that it's just, even though it's hardcore R, very violent, it's very fun. It's just, it has that tone that's so hard to hit, and it's so funny. And that's the greatest part about seeing it in a crowded theater, is everyone's laughing. It's like a comedy,
yes,
but featuring Deadpool.
Well, it's funny that you say that, because we talked about movies like Rob Liefeld was there, and he was talking about seeing R-rated films like Aliens, but I remember the great R-rated action comedies. I go back to Beverly Hills Cop from '84. I mean, Beverly Hills Cop was an R-rated body comedy, but it also worked as a great action film. Yeah. And we don't see that anymore.
No.
There's no one making those kind of movies.
Yeah, this was comedy action. It's not action comedy. That's why it's a big difference, because this was first and foremost funny. I mean, literally, when I think about it, my cheeks hurt. My face hurt for the whole next following day because I was laughing the entire movie. And every time we talk about Deadpool, I just start to get that smile again because it's such a fun film. That's why I want to say it's such a successful comedy action film, because every single one of these dirty jokes hits, the visual jokes hit, everything that they do with the breaking the fourth wall. With Deadpool talking to you, he helps move things that would be very hard on a scripted page. You'd be like, really? You're going to jump in time from where we're at right now to the future, to the back in the past, to another part of the past. I mean, they fluidly went through the entire film back and forth, and I never felt A, lost, or B, that I was missing jokes, because he made you feel like he let you know how meta it was. When you remember that one joke, he's like, I've just broken 16 walls. I'm a piece of what 4 walls times this. I don't even know what I am. I don't even know the joke, but it was great. What do you think about the fourth wall breaking, Steve?
I can't say enough good things about the film. I love that it does that. And the greatest thing about the movie is it moves the genre forward with something unique and fresh. And, there's like, what you said, there's like 7 comic book movies coming out this year. It's, I think, a record number. The only way for the genre to survive and grow is if they keep on doing new things. Winter Soldier, amazing 70s political thriller. Guardians of the Galaxy, if you had told me a talking squirrel and a talking tree were going to work, I would have said, yeah, I don't know. Right. And we have this. And as long as these movies are unique and fresh, it can continue to get bigger and bigger.
Totally agree with you.
All right, let's move on. Let's talk about the marketing campaign. We've seen the movie, and we've been treated to one of the most incredible viral marketing campaigns that I've ever personally experienced. I know Ryan has been hands-on in this entire thing, from the little the Halloween X Babies thing to the Love Will Save the Day kind of like romantic comedy posters. What stands out to you? What's your favorite viral marketing, Umberto?
I think we have to give a round of applause. I even wrote to the guy. His name is Mark Weinstock, the president of marketing over there at Fox.
Right on.
Him and Ryan worked together on the marketing, and he comes from Sony, and his forte was marketing R-rated comedies. So he was in his natural element, given free rein. Him and Ryan worked on it together. The back of our shirts.
Yeah.
The climax. Come on. They go places. It's the bad Santa of superhero movies and the bad Santa of superhero movie marketing.
Right
Come
on,
man. But Mark Weinstock, give that guy some love. I mean, I've never seen anything like this anywhere. None of us have for a superhero movie.
Well, also the fact that they made it a cancer awareness became part of the big. I mean, they did breast cancer and then testicular cancer.
That's right.
I mean, I don't think I remember a marketing campaign that advocated masturbation while I'm making sure I'm cancer free. And that, my friends, is that is some ballsy marketing, so to speak.
To make ball cancer actually tied in with your movie and enjoyable in some ways.
Unbelievable.
So what sticks out to you of all this?
I think
viral marketing?
the two things. One, their billboard with the literally a piece of shit in the middle.
The emoticon one. Right?
That's
the emoji.
Amazing. But also just the fact that the poster says load, pointing down.
That's my favorite of the posters. It's just his like torso with this gun right between his legs. Wait till they get a load of me.
No,
it's amazing.
That's referencing the 1989 Batman Joker line. Wait till they get a load of me. I don't know if a lot of people caught that, but then
I did not. But that's also true.
Yeah, just the way they used that line, but then flipped it and sexualized it and made it funny. It's incredible. I mean, it's a really. I'm hard pressed to find any of the Australia Day where he's wearing that stupid hat.
Right.
I mean, everything. Ryan Reynolds is really this. He was able to take this character who's already funny in the comic books and breaks the fourth wall in the comic books and add his sensibility, his sense of humor, his snarkiness, and his little quick jab jokes. He made that part of Deadpool, and it's really a success, credited to him and the screenwriters and Tim Miller. It's really a bunch of people working together to take something that was pretty much a gigantic piece of shit, which is X-Men Wolverine Origins. It's a horrible film. It doesn't work on any level, really. If you wanted to be nice about it, you could say the first 20 minutes is okay, and that's it.
Well, you got to love, too, the beginning of this movie when they actually show you the Deadpool figure, the action figure from Wolverine Origins.
My God.
I mean, I lost it. That was one of the many, the 150 times I lost it in that movie. But that was hilarious. It was
Sideways
hilarious.
shot of that horrible action figure, like, so his mouth shut. You're like, what the,
Yeah, it was, I was, well, we can keep it. It's just, I don't want to ruin any of the jokes for
ruin. This is a spoiler, yo.
Well, I was texting with Brian Singer yesterday, and he, by the way, said he loved the movie, and he goes, well, I saw an early cut. Did they keep the joke in it where they said where Deadpool goes to the door of Xavier's School for Gifted Youngsters and says the thing about the studio not paying for
this is all you can afford, yeah.
And I go, he goes, I hope they kept that, and I'm like, yes, they kept that. I mean, that was hilarious. It was just they put down their own studio in their own movie.
Well, hey, now that you brought up the X-Mansion, let's talk about Colossus and Teenage Negasonic Warhead. Now, when they first brought those characters in, we knew they were going to be in the movie. We saw the trailers. but I didn't know how much of a role they were actually going to play. They're actual main characters of this movie. They're not just like in it for 2 minutes. They're at the X Mansion. Obviously, Colossus is in charge of like kind of taking care of the teenage Negasonic Warhead, because she's like, you're young, you're new to this. And at first I was like, they're going to play Colossus like this. He was played a little different than how we might have seen him in the other movies. But remember, we barely saw him in the other movies. I mean, he might have had like 2 lines and then punched a bunch of people. So this is the first time we actually get to see Colossus as a character. And at first I was like, they're going to make him all like, a little like stuffy. But then it really kind of works great. And especially it pays off at the end as far as like with Deadpool and Teenage Negasonic Warhead. And I loved all of the little riffs that every time Deadpool would say something to her, like ripping on her being goth. What do you, what's the bald-headed singer?
Sinead O'Connor.
Yeah. So we just like, I mean, there's so many incredible, funny jokes that are just coming at you the whole time. I loved it. How about, what do you guys think? Umberto, Colossus.
Yeah. He was brolic, and he comes out like this, and it was perfect. He could fight the Hulk. I mean, I love the. I mean, I never heard his accent. You always see him looking like like the way when Mike Zeck and Clem and all these guys, when they drew him back in the '80s, he was always a big, thick dude. So it's about. I mean, he didn't get no love in the X-Men movies, but now he it could be technically called Deadpool and Colossus and Negasonic Teenage Warhead.
Totally.
But come on, Colossus was awesome, and then this is a spoiler discussion, right?
Yes.
When Deadpool like bodies Ajax and Colossus, throws. Come on, that's hilarious.
That's right.
Man.
After that big speech, when you do this,
Yes.
you must remember to not who
The
you
hero
are.
speech.
Yeah, the hero speech. It's so fantastic. And the whole time, as an audience, all of us knew, Colossus, you're not going to get through to this guy. We are expecting Deadpool to do what we know he's going to do. It's just, when is he going to do it? What did you... Getting a little sweaty here. So what did you think about Colossus and Negasonic Teenage Warhead?
At first, when they first came on, to be honest, I didn't know, like you. I'm like, I don't know if I buy this. Like, it was almost too... But then it worked.
Yeah.
I mean, here's something that I don't think has been stressed enough about the film. It's really emotionally involving.
Yes, it is.
Like, you feel it. Like, there's a great relationship with these two characters. The love... I mean, first of all, kudos to Tim Miller for Marina Baccarin getting her naked. Love that. But I mean, you believe their love affair, and it really anchored the film. I mean, if it didn't have that humanity to the movie, I don't know if it would have worked as well.
It's interesting because some people have criticized the love story, and I'm like, what movie did you watch? Because I thought it was really well done.
Really well done. It totally works, and you really feel for them. I mean, it's a bummer. Like when he goes back to see her, and he can't do it. He can't see her. Oh. And you really feel like, I was surprised at how emotionally caught up in the movie I was. And I was also surprised at how kind of moving the whole Colossus, Negasonic Teenage Warhead, Deadpool thing actually turned out to be. I mean, it was sweet. I love when Colossus is giving him this big speech about being a hero, and you've got that quintessential movie music that's swelling to this great moment, and then it's just bam. Yeah. Deadpool pulls the trigger,
and then Colossus throws up.
It's just, it was great.
Like, you're speaking about the emotionality to it, like they definitely took the right tone with Wade and Vanessa as far as developing who they are. He's a mercenary, she's a hooker. They hook up, and then they have a conversation back and forth where it felt natural. Like, they're finishing each other's jokes, they're one-upping each other, they're game playing, and they both like it. And there's something there that sticks. Like, as they go through the sex scenes of the month. Especially look out for Women's Day. When they go through,
we don't have to admit.
I know.
We don't have to.
We don't have to even like. Yeah, you saw the movie. So
come on, baby.
I remember like Tim Miller was like, "Well, I have to pick out which dildo we're going to use."
He told that very funny. Yeah. Set that story up. Tell that story.
Yeah. So we were asking Tim Miller about like working on set and this and that. And he said, "Well, there was this one thing when we were on that bridge, and one of the prop guys came by and he was like, "Hey, I've got all the different dildos for Vanessa's scene for Women's Day," and they're all on the hood, and he's like, "Dude, there's all these reporters." So people were like taking pictures, and you could have literally seen like 40 different dildos all on this hood of this car. And so Tim's like, "I got to make this quick. Just take the Black Mamba." So that's the one. He's like, "That's the one Vanessa wants, and Marina wants that one. That's the one we're using." So, and he's like, "And I'll roll that, throw a tarp on that." So that was a pretty funny story.
That was good.
I think you actually, aside from the sex scenes, which were fantastic, you really believed that these characters loved each other, not just like each other. So it made it, and how they did that so quickly and established this tone so fast that you actually cared, number one, about Wade Wilson, that it sucks that he comes down with cancer right when he finally seems like everything's cool.
Even though you knew it was coming because you saw it in the trailer, when it happens in the movie, it was like, oh shit, he has cancer. I forgot about that.
Right.
And you actually are totally bummed because it's at the end of that scene and he keels over.
Yeah.
And I was like, oh, right. I mean, it got me because I was completely, even though you've seen the trailers, I mean, I don't know how you guys felt about that. Did you feel you'd seen too much in the trailers?
No.
Not at all. No.
Yeah, I didn't either.
Not at all.
Well, I think one of the things that was great that they saved, that you didn't see in any of the trailers, was all this fourth wall breaking. Because what happened is you see all these scenes from the trailers, any of the number of trailers that we saw, but you never see him like communicating with us, the viewer. So once that happened, that broke away. All of a sudden I forgot about the trailers, and I'm on this journey with him while he's talking to us and telling us his story. Especially, I love the interaction with him and that cabbie. Especially,
The Bender.
Yeah, especially when they're all crammed in that cabbie. And Vanessa's in there, Negasonic, Colossus, and him and the cabbie. And he's like, "What's that sound?" He's like, "I got the guy in the back." I mean, that's like, what the hell's going on?
That was the only thing I missed. I wanted a final payoff with that joke. I wanted them to find out what happened with Dipinder's girlfriend.
And what with the body in the car.
I know, there's a crash. It's like, what? Yeah, did he get busted?
It's a good thing they're making a sequel.
It's
It just literally got announced as we're taping this.
I couldn't believe that when they first got to the end of the movie, they're in the ship reclamation yard I'm like,
Helicarrier.
is that the S.H.I.E.L.D. helicarrier?
Yeah.
And it totally was. Yeah. They kept showing you the frame, the 239 frame was such that you always see the fan jets of the helicarrier like on the edge of the frame. They didn't make a big deal about it.
Right.
They didn't have a S.H.I.E.L.D. logo, but I was like, that's a helicarrier.
Yeah.
But what about the references? Of course, like what we were talking about, Feige pizza box.
Yeah, there's a reference to Feige in the movie. I think it's his name on the pizza box.
Nice.
So next time you watch the film and you see the pizza getting delivered, you'll see like Feige's Pizza or something like that.
I was telling Tim Miller he should start a letter writing campaign, and all the irate parents whose kids start retelling the jokes from Deadpool should write Kevin Feige and blame him. And Bryan Singer said, well, technically it is a Marvel film, so maybe you should blame Kevin Feige.
So what do you think about the critical reaction? I mean, a lot of the critics came out early. It had 100 for a little bit, moved down to like 84 or something. I mean, what do you guys think as far as what do you think the global reaction, minus China, is going to be with this film?
Well, tracking was released yesterday, so it's at 30% first choice. Unaided total awareness is at 84. That's Avengers numbers. Okay, so this will be an afterthought by the time this airs. I'm thinking 85 for the 3, maybe 100 for the 4, no less than 90 over the 4-day week. I think it's going to be. It's hitting all 4 quadrants. It's acceptable. It's a date movie. It's Valentine's. It's something there for everybody. The love story will get the girls. The action and the fanboyness will get the guys. But there's also the comedy factor and the R-rated factor, and it's killing anything. Zoolander is going to get bodied.
It's going to get dusted.
He's bodied.
Unfortunately, I haven't seen Zoolander 2, and I don't. I hope it's a good film. But I've seen Deadpool, and I cannot wait to see it again and again. It's so much fun.
I'm surprised. The Deadline critic, is it Hammond?
Yeah, I noticed the same thing.
Pete Hammond, yes.
Pete Hammond really liked it.
I saw the same
and
thing.
I saw the video, yeah.
I was like, wow, he really came out strongly in favor of this movie, which I thought was unique. The real question, I have one question. I want to know what Jeff Wells is going to think of Deadpool.
No.
If Deadpool wins over Jeffrey Wells, I want to know what he has to say.
Well, there was a couple of sour patches in the bunch. I read a couple of them. I'm not going to name names, but there was a couple of people who were like, I reluctantly have to admit that I liked it, but it's, and then started like cutting on like, these people over here, these people, it's made for these kinds of people. This is like, actually, if you just, stop like, get your head out of your ass, maybe you have a good time at the movies instead of like, this is not a film to psychoanalyze. It's not a film also to like make a lot of weird judgment calls. Either you have a sense of humor or you don't. If you don't have a sense of humor, it's okay. You're not going to get one. You're too old this time. You're going to have to grow one. It doesn't work that way. You just didn't get it. And so if you didn't get it, then that's the one thing. Sometimes critics are like, well, it's for this group of people because I didn't like it. Well, it's like, I personally don't think that when I read a few of these reviews, they were definitely not talking to me. So
I think that getting back to your original thing, I think it's going to do very well critically around the world just because it's original, it's fresh. This is the role that he's been waiting to do. You know, he's so good in this role.
Thank God.
And he's been traveling the world promoting it, which helps with international critics. You know, when you get to talk to the stars and all that. But I don't see how you see this movie and say, ooh, it's not good. You know, like it's just a fucking good movie.
Yeah.
You know, and it's universal. You know, it's just a really good movie.
Well, I hope that it also bodes well for the future of franchise pictures in the sense that it really only cost a little over $50 million.
Barely.
That's not including, not including marketing. But it shows that you can make an X franchise film and it doesn't have to cost $200 million. And if I would like to see studios be able to come back and make $50 million movies.
Yeah.
And this is really an auteurist film in the sense that Tim Miller really brought some interesting directorial flourishes. He's a first-time director. But they worked on this. I mean, Ryan Reynolds said he worked. It's like an 11-year now. Yeah. They're going on year 11 of this or something, or trying.
Well,
to
I mean,
make
because
I think it's like 7 full years.
right. I mean,
so
Wolverine
in-
Origins. Let's just say that slowed it down quite a bit to like a dead
Right.
nothingness, and
But
then they had to build that back up.
But the perseverance, these are filmmakers that persevered.
Christ.
You know, they have that test footage that no one will admit leaking, although Ryan Reynolds
I
Graham
tried
Norton show.
desperately, and I told Rob, you should give me a fucking executive producer credit because I told you leak. I mean, he didn't do it, obviously, but if that footage leaks, it will get the movie green. I swear on my mother. But I tried for years to get it to be the one to leak it. But
Well, somebody
didn't
finally
happen.
listened to
I
you,
know,
so you
I
know.
know.
Thank you for getting that out there. I think I personally I listed off a few things like Dread, Kick-Ass, Sin City, Watchmen. All of these are R-rated comic book adaptations. Now, this R-rated comic book adaptation has something that those films did not, and that's a sense of humor. And that's a giant, big thing to get over. I want to know what you guys think about the future of R-rated, not only just superhero films, but can we do an R-rated film that's not a comedy, or do we want to make X-Force part of the Deadpool world where it is breaking the fourth wall?
I think before we answer that question, I think we have to analyze, and we don't have the numbers yet right now to really look at it, but every $100 million that Deadpool makes changes the entire playing field. If Deadpool crosses over 500 million worldwide, that changes everything. You know, if Deadpool maxes out at 300 or 200, right. Because that's everything. I mean, the fact is, if Deadpool can make $500, $600, $700 million worldwide, then all of a sudden X-Force can be a different beast. And then it comes down to the budget that they're going to give these movies. If you're making X-Force for $150 million, you cannot go R-rated.
Right.
You just can't.
Yep.
But if you can make X-Force for $80 million or $90 million and Deadpool crosses 500 million worldwide, you can do R. But then what's the tone? Is it going to be comedy? Is it going to be serious like X-Men? There's all these choices, merchandising. You know, I think that there's a huge future for R-rated movies that are in the superhero genre, but for me, they're going to have to be selectively chosen and not the majority.
Well, can I ask you a question?
Sure.
You know, there's going to be a Hot Toys figure of Deadpool.
Of course, we get the
There's
Hot
going to be a
Toys.
Hot Toys figure of Deadpool. It's R-rated. Hot Toys has only ever made Wolverines from the Fox Marvel stable.
And you know why?
I don't know why. I was going to ask you, do you have some kind of insight? Tell me why I can't get all of the X-Men from Days of Future Past as
Before
Hot
you
Toys
answer
figures.
it, Frosty, just so you know, Robert has all of the Wolverines.
I have
like
all
of them that were made. I was like,
There's
how many were
4.
made? There's
There are
4.
4.
I've got a picture of them, so I've seen them. I know he's got them. However many Deadpools they're going to make, he's going to buy them. But what's the answer?
I believe that Marvel is very involved in the marketing and toy selection of the Fox properties, which is why, let's just be honest here, Marvel and Fox do not like each other. There is for people that don't know, in the late 90s, Fox signed a contract and got a lot of characters from Marvel when Marvel was not what Marvel is. And at the time, it was a great deal for both sides because Fox could get these properties, Marvel needed money, different world. But I believe part of that deal, Marvel has like merchandising. And so the reason why they've gotten rid of comic books and why you never see toys and T-shirts for certain characters is because Marvel's basically saying to Fox, fuck you. We're going to do as little as we can to promote your movie. The reason there are 7 Deadpool comics, or 6 or 7, the reason why there's a Deadpool figure, the reason why Deadpool is being pushed by Marvel is because he's so popular that they want to monetize the merchandising and they want a piece of the action. And the only reason you're seeing it being sold and made is purely because there's such a financial interest by Marvel. But that's the reason why you're not going to see X-Men Apocalypse action figures and X-Men Apocalypse hot toys, because they're basically going to tell Fox fuck off.
Yeah, but that's really sad because the entire world wants the entire X-Men as
Off
hot toys
camera, I'll
figures.
tell you guys what the real beat between Marvel and Fox is. That goes back to the Lawrence Schuler Donner days. But getting back to the original question about X-Force, I'm with Frosty. Should X-Force be R-rated? No. But is there a market for mid-range R-rated hard superhero movies? Like, what was the mature Marvel line back in the day? Max, right?
Yeah,
Marvel Max.
This could be that. But like something broad like X-Force, okay, an R movie like Deadpool, 400 or 500 million. But a PG-13 X-Force is $1 billion business. No studio is going to greenlight a $150 million R-rated movie and expect only a $500 million return. They're in the $1 billion business. So sure, you could have Colossus. You could have Deadpool, Cable, whatever, in an X-Force, broad range, but then you could also have them, the side piece like they did with Wolverine. They spin him off and do a Deadpool movie, and they could continue being R. But in the broader picture, in a bigger sense, and to try to get the most general audience possible, it's got to be PG-13.
You could also work that into a joke in the movie with Deadpool being like, I feel like I'm being held back.
That's awesome. Absolutely.
Like there's something going on here that, and sort of acknowledging he's trapped in this PG-13 movie.
Well,
That'd be fantastic. It's a great idea.
It's a great. Also, with the Wolverine movies, if you look, they're very different than the X-Men films have been, because you couldn't make a team movie and have Deadpool overshadow that. You'd have to have. I think the Deadpool films can stay unto themselves, but you could bring Deadpool in, and he won't have to overshadow the rest of the team.
Exactly.
Yeah, I wonder though. I mean, because of the way Deadpool is now set up in his own film and his sequel that just got announced, if they bring him into X-Force and X-Force is PG-13, are all the other characters going to stay not knowledgeable about the fourth wall? I mean, because Deadpool has to break the fourth wall. If he's in X-Force, I would feel it would be weird if he wasn't talking to us. Now that it's been established.
Well, the other characters would be like, who are you talking to?
Right.
Like, why are you looking over there? There's nobody over there.
That's
it could be a whole different.
I would love to see
but
that.
I would love to see an R-rated Cable Deadpool.
Oh, Jesus
film.
Christ.
I mean,
I'll bet money that the
sequel.
sequel with him and Cable is going to be R-rated.
No, I mean,
absolutely.
Again, if Deadpool, this first movie, makes the money that everyone's expecting it to make, I mean, Cable's definitely in the sequel. I would imagine if it makes the money, it's definitely going to be rated R again, have the creative freedom. I think the big question at Fox is, are they leaning towards X-Force, or are they going more towards New Mutants, or are they developing both? Because the fact is, it could easily go Deadpool 2, then X-Force, because you're setting up that sort of X area.
Right.
And you could also be setting up New Mutants. And it's amazing, and I think we all realize that Bryan Singer is essentially making X-Men movies that are rebooting and restarting his own movies. Like every movie is sort of like a reboot. And there's a lot of opportunity there for some of the other characters, but I really think it's going to go Deadpool 2, X-Force, with New Mutants maybe on TV. Maybe they do that, or they do it as another feature.
I would love to
X-Force
see,
is the evolution of the X-Men brand over at Fox. It's painfully obvious. Like, I don't know if Singer will probably do another one after this one, but this is headed towards X-Force.
Well, he's doing 20,000 Leagues.
But I bet he'll stay. I think Brian will probably do one more X-Men movie. I think there's a story left for him to tackle.
Yeah, and I think Bryan Singer's X-Men.
Dark Phoenix.
Yeah. Phoenix. Yeah. So, look.
Well, they screwed it up, and
I know.
Yeah,
That's the reason I said that.
it never happened. Last Stand
right.
doesn't
It
even
never happened.
exist.
There has been no Dark Phoenix.
And
you could introduce the Shi'ar Empire.
That would be
the
incredible.
Starjammers would
Come
lead to
on,
the Guardians
want to
of the
see
Galaxy.
that? But what
This
I'm saying
conversation's
is,
getting super nerdy. I
Bryan
love it.
Singer's
The thing is,
X-Men
There's
world.
a lot of opportunity.
Yeah, Bryan Singer's X-Men world will continue to exist side by side with whatever Deadpool and X-Force and New Mutants go. I'd like to say, I mean, I want to see more X-Men, but I also want to see, I would love to see us get to a world where we can see X-Statics. The really cool Mike Allred, Peter Milligan Freak Force. Come on, man. That's where we're going. I hope we get there, but I'd love to see X-Force. I would love to see New Mutants, and I want to hear that, like announced very soon. I know they've announced Deadpool
I don't
2.
see that being announced very soon. I think I really believe that they're building towards X-Force, and I think that Deadpool 2 is absolutely capable in
foregone
Deadpool.
conclusion.
and you're going towards it. But look, they have a lot of characters and a lot of opportunity.
Totally.
And as long as, this goes back to what we said earlier, as long as the movies are fresh and original and not what's been done before, there is a tremendous opportunity for them to take these characters that have never been seen, that they own, and doing feature films with them. And I think that I love the X-Men, and they're super popular, and they've been so well done recently. But at some point, people are going to get tired of the same characters. And, with Wolverine doing one more movie, Hugh doing it this year, maybe it's time to push towards New Mutants and X-Force.
Well, what I thought was really interesting was how this movie worked in the broader scheme of things. It still is an X-Men movie.
Yeah.
I mean, even though it's this crazy fourth wall breaking thing, I believe that Wade Wilson exists in the same world as the X-Men, which I thought was strange. I didn't know that was going to be the case. I'm like, how is this going to work? Is this
Right.
even, am I going to buy
We're at
this?
the X Mansion?
Right,
This
but
is
when they go to the X Mansion, it was like, first of all, I couldn't believe it. And then you see the actual SR-71 Blackbird. I'm like, wow, this is classic X-Men.
Yeah.
But it worked. I mean, it worked. I believe that Negasonic Teenage Warhead will act differently when she's around Jubilee and the rest of the X-Men that are her age.
Yeah.
I mean, what's she talking about? She was just, when you get teenage girls together, then they don't have the attitude they would have with, say, an adult around.
Right.
You could do it.
Hey, in closing, I want to hear you guys. If you have any cons, but the pros of Deadpool. Start with you, Umberto.
Any cons?
Yeah.
None. The only con is that you didn't go see this movie yet. That's the only con I could think of. Okay.
And what's your- yeah.
It is the beginning of Hollywood's heroic age, and it's off to a bang.
Yeah,
we got 6
2016.
other movies this year, and what better way to start the party popping than with this guy?
Rating,
Come on,
1 out of 10. What is it?
1 out of 10.
Yeah.
100.
All right. Robert.
I loved it. I mean, I can't remember having this much fun in a movie theater. I mean, I was completely satisfied. Coming off of, to me, 2 huge disappointments, one with Spectre and the other with...
He looked fresh, though. Come on.
He looked great. No, look,
Okay.
he looks great.
The
Tom
suits were
Ford's
dope.
dressing him. Tom Ford dresses... I want to have the body like you. You all buffed up now. I
thank
want to
you.
look like I can wear Tom Ford clothes. I can't yet, but one day. And The Force Awakens, kind of a letdown for me. Although I do love the characters in
All right,
Force
come
Awakens.
on. No hating on this.
But
Listen.
no, Deadpool was the most satisfying genre, just a delightful time at the movies with
my
Wade
God,
Wilson.
yes, with you guys
I
too.
loved it. Loved it.
So what's your number? 1 out of 10.
You know what? I'll give it a 10. Is it going to change the world? No. Is it going to make you happy? Yes. What's more important?
Yes, I'll go next. I give it a 1 out of 10. I went in there with expectations that I thought were pretty high because of all the trailers, because of Ryan Reynolds, the humor, everything that I saw in there, and all the viral marketing. I was like, man, I don't know if it's going to top this viral marketing, but I'm sure it's going to be a really fun film. And it blew my head off. It was 1,000 times better than I thought it would be. Like I said, I could not stop laughing. I felt it satisfied every kind of sense of humor across the board. I thought it was really funny, really well done action films. I mean, technique as far as the way Tim Miller, and he's a first-time film director, but he's been directing animation for years. He runs his own studio.
Some big video game commercials,
yeah, I mean,
too.
to have that guy be able to take the team that he's been growing this whole time, just to be able to, that's like Deadpool is the apex, it's like it's the top of the crop for him. I cannot wait to see what he does next, and I can't wait to see Deadpool 2. Incredibly enjoyable film.
I would say I would give it a 4. I think it's pretty overrated.
crazy?
Right, exactly. No, listen, I've seen it twice. I had a blast. It's so funny. It manages to hit a tone that is so hard to do. And the other thing is they did this movie for about $50 million. And when you think about that number and how good it looks, and the fact that that's not a lot of money. Like The Hangover was made for $35 million. This is $50 million, and it looks awesome. And listen, I give all the credit in the world. I'd give it a 9 out of 10, just because I want room to be able to give something else a 10. I hate going to the top because then it's like, where do you go once it's 11?
Right.
You go to 11 just like Spinal Tap. I changed my number. I'm giving it an 11.
Well, let me ask you, Steve, you had said to us when we were going in, you had seen it before we had seen it, and you were wondering what people were going to think.
Yeah, because
you actually didn't know.
Well, because here's the thing, like I've seen movies before where I'm like, this is a blast. Like I love this. And then all of a sudden the reaction is like, ooh, it's not, other people, for example, I'm going to say something which is going to get me in some trouble. I think Man of Steel is a masterpiece. Right?
I do too.
Oh, so we were
great.
We all
agree.
see,
Masterpiece.
right, like
say something different because we all agree with you.
right. Well, you see, I always encounter people that are
Q300 comments in the
right. Exactly.
comments.
Like I meet
Frosty's wrong. It's horrible and garbage. Superman doesn't kill. Blah blah blah.
Doesn't he care about the people in Metropolis? All those buildings, all that horrible destruction.
I've dealt with all this since the movie came out. Like the movie's amazing. It is literally amazing. In the first 40 minutes, it's like frame perfect. All the stuff on Krypton is it's unbelievable. The score, the casting, everything about that movie. It comes on HBO. I am in.
Yeah.
Just in. I'm sold. I fucking love the movie so much. But other people have such issue with it that like for me, I'm like, this is the greatest movie.
Right. Okay.
Did we see a different film? And how?
Yeah.
And how do I have to like convince you that you're wrong?
So by the way, since then, I see movies sometimes really far in advance, and then other people see it and they have a completely different take. And so I thought with Deadpool, I'm like, this is unbelievable. What are other people going to think? You know,
I'm with you. What do you guys? Are there movies that you guys have seen that you love that you thought everybody would love and then everyone didn't?
Yeah, Man of Steel's top of the list.
Yeah, I agree with you because I took it's you and we all have this problem. You root for DC, you get Marvel hate. You root for Marvel, you get DC hate. You love Man of Steel, everybody hates you, or at least the general. I mean, the commenters on this forum. But I love this. I just don't get it.
Why don't you? Why is everyone a hater? Be a congratulator.
Yeah, be a lover.
I'll tell you though. I have a movie like that. If I can bring it up.
Sure.
Speed Racer.
Oh wait! That movie's amazing.
I love the
love
Wachowski Speed Racer. I don't understand people that don't like Speed Racer.
Love.
It's a perfect adaptation of the source material. You know, it's Speed Racer. It's Spritle and Chim Chim.
Guys, this is where these guys are wrong. But let's get back to Deadpool. I don't want to talk about Speed Racer. I do want to say this
one thing real fast.
Yeah.
Speed Racer's amazing.
It is.
It's about 5 to 10 minutes too long, and that's my only knock on it. But next time you watch it, realize everything is in focus. All the frame. It's a live action cartoon, and that was in the middle of the Wachowskis' masterpiece moments.
Sure.
Because Speed Racer's a masterpiece, Cloud Atlas is a masterpiece. Like,
well, also, but like Deadpool, you know, I think it was just something people weren't used to at the time. But it was like Deadpool, really emotional. It's a great family movie, and Deadpool is a romance. Deadpool is a legitimate. I think putting out on Valentine's Day was a stroke of genius. Well done by the studio. And
also
Fox.
want to give a tip of the hat to T.J. Miller for being incredibly funny back and forth with Ryan Reynolds. Well, the entire cast did a great job in Deadpool. We haven't talked about the entire cast because it really is Ryan Reynolds' film, but overall it's a great ensemble. I want to see the return of all those characters.
That whole team, yeah, absolutely.
Let's talk about his landlord or the relationship he has. Leslie Uggams is so good in the movie.
When he had his little tiny hand touching her, I was like, that little tiny nugget hand. What's going on?
What that tiny hand did later on.
I know, he was like, it's going to make it so big.
Yes.
That little baby hand growing back. What the hell? I mean,
just so you thought it couldn't get better.
I know, it's like these are scenes that you never thought you would see in a movie, let alone Deadpool. So
and what's great is, and we've talked about this, Middle America, we all know that it's a Fox Marvel movie.
Right.
Fox made this. Marvel basically had nothing to do with it, but their name's on it. Middle America thinks this is a Marvel movie, and Fox is just distributing it.
Right.
Like a lot of the casual people have no comprehension that Marvel had nothing to do with this movie.
You brought that up like about 2 weeks ago when we talked about it, and then literally like 3 days later, 5 people said that, this Marvel film, and I was like, Weintraub's right. They don't. I was like, no, it's Fox. And no, Marvel.
Right.
I was like,
they have
are
no
the
idea.
Avengers going to be there? I was like, it's different universes. It's true, and it's to its credit that it's like smoothly going over that way. It's no one's going to notice.
And Fox is not trying to take ownership.
Oh, no.
They're like, no, it's a Marvel movie.
No. See, we did Fantastic Four. That's Fox. This is a Marvel film. They're like, they're playing
Next
it
time
right.
Kevin Feige's like at Ralph's. Some mother's going to accost him. My 11-year-old saw Deadpool, and now she's swearing and wants to know what is happening in our bedroom.
That's
You'll be
right.
seeing him at the supermarket in Pacific Palisades anytime soon. Then, based on that.
Well, is Wolverine gonna be in a Deadpool 2? I know he's doing Wolverine 3, and that's it. What's happening?
This is the only regret that I have about this movie taking so long to be made. Had this been made sooner with this team, maybe we would have gotten a Wolverine cameo or appearance, or even a team up. Everybody wants to see Wolverine and these two go at it,
right?
You know, I mean, and Deadpool go at it. But I think that ship might have sailed already. If there is, it's not. I mean, Hugh's pushing 50, and he just had a little cancer resurgence. Right. Poor guy. But I don't know. I would love to see a Wolverine, but I just don't think it's going to happen. within the time frame. I mean, Deadpool 2 has got to come first.
Right. So they
that's-
start shooting Wolverine 3 in April.
Yeah.
So, you know, who
Well,
knows?
supposedly.
Supposedly.
Like
yeah.
that date is not solid.
Okay.
I mean-
Scoop.
No, I'm just saying it's
Yeah.
like that's what they're going for.
Right.
But it is, Hugh has repeatedly said that it comes down to I want a perfect script
Right.
to make this movie.
Because this is last
And
hurrah.
I interviewed him at Sundance, and he basically said, I just got the first draft, like a draft that, like they're looking at.
Right.
So until he's 100%, then...
No
Well, he's
sets are
training
being
though.
built,
Like he's
you know.
training
No,
right now.
he
Like he's
even
getting
said,
ready.
like, he even said to me on camera, he's like, look at my facial hair. You'll see what's coming, what I'm working towards. But, until the script is locked. And that's the reason, like, not to bring Bourne into this, but one of the reasons why Bourne took so long with Damon, and he even told me, is that the second and third movie, and even the first movie, they had no finished script. Like, they were basically making it up on the second and third as they were going. It was a horrible thing. They didn't know what they had till that first screening for the press.
Right.
The one they filmed now, everybody was like super happy with the script. They had something that Greengrass loved, Damon loved, everyone involved
They all
loved.
participated in writing it.
Right. And by the way, everyone has been raving about how happy they are with the script, and there's been no drama on set, no rewriting. Like, they've been making this movie.
And the trailer looked great.
Jesus,
I mean,
did look
man,
great.
And by the way,
fantastic.
think about, I love the Bourne movies, and they made these movies with no scripts. Like with
Crazy.
loose, you know what I mean? Like scripts that
Yeah.
were being finished. And this one they're making with an actual script they all loved.
What do you think how does this bode for the Gambit movie? How do you make a Gambit follow-up for Fox?
break the
after
fourth wall,
success?
make it R-rated, make it a comedy action film. Yeah, I don't know.
I mean, this is a tough act to follow.
Throw Sugar Man in there. I have no idea. There's no
It's
answer.
tough. They got it tough with that one.
It's tough
because
I mean,
he's ultra cold right now. He can't get straight guys or even gay guys. He didn't do well at White House Down.
You're talking about Channing Tatum.
Channing Tatum,
Yeah.
yes. I mean, they make that movie for 150. They're in trouble.
Well,
They
no,
make-
I think truthfully, they need to take a lesson from this.
Yes.
And be like, how can we pull off Gambit for $50 million? How can we make it for a lower budget with more creative freedom and more risk? And ultimately, I think that as a studio, they have to look at the reaction to the script and story and everything about this movie and say, shit, people loved this. And are we playing it too safe with Gambit? Is this a vanilla movie?
Right.
And do we need to add like mint chocolate chip? And this might be one of these things where we need to take a pause, because let's look what happened with Fantastic Four and Fox. I mean, that's just problems.
That's a horror nightmare scientific experiment gone wrong.
So sad because the first 40 minutes were actually decent.
yeah, but I agree with you guys. I mean, I think they have to go in a different direction. They can't try and make Gambit Deadpool.
No.
They can't do that, but they've got to make Gambit something else. Like I don't know if they
Well,
make
you
it
know, the
more
other
of
thing
a
you brought up, Fantastic Four. It's like Fox did the right thing with Deadpool. Is they like took their hands off and they were like, look, you do the script that's right there. You make it R-rated. You go full steam ahead. With Fantastic Four, it was meddled with from the beginning. Before that guy ever got a chance to get on set to direct anything, they cut scenes. They cut this. You can't do that. You can't do this. Then he's making it. Now we're doing test things. How come it doesn't have those scenes in it? Oh, you mean the scenes you cut? Then they fired. All these kinds of mad things that did not happen at Deadpool.
You brought up that's an excellent point. When they were making Fantastic Four, the filmmakers, the producers, the studio, and the cast were all making different movies. They were all not on the same page.
Yeah.
The reason Deadpool works is because the studio, the filmmakers, the producers, the writers, and Ryan Reynolds all knew the movie they were making. They were making a hard R Deadpool movie,
Yep.
and because they were making it on a budget, they had that creative freedom. And ultimately, that's what they need to do for Gambit.
yes, that's
They
the
need
plus
to-
side. You got to have that creative freedom.
But you need to find, then you have to have a filmmaker and you have to have a producer, a writer, and a star that's willing to commit to whatever vision it's going to be. I mean, I've never seen even the synergistic relationship between the marketing department and the filmmakers in this movie, even though Tim Miller said that they didn't really have anything to do. They just got out of the way. But have you ever seen talent be so involved in marketing a movie before?
No.
that works
I mean,
so
that was
well too.
amazing.
But also, let's be honest. Like, I love Ryan Reynolds. I think he's hysterically funny, super nice guy. He needs this hit. He really does.
And deserves it, by the way.
But listen,
Absolutely deserves
he
it.
did a phenomenal job in this movie. I think, though, it's interesting because Gambit might be filming in New Orleans.
Right.
And I think Wolverine might be filming in New Orleans. And it's interesting if both of those are filming in New Orleans because it's, they're basically going to move Fox superhero movie central to New Orleans to sort of manage it all together.
Sure.
But look, ultimately, and we all know this, it comes down to the script. What's the story they're trying to tell with Gambit? How is it pushing the comic book genre forward? How is it new and something we haven't seen before? Because if they're not able to do that in a unique way, why are they making the movie?
Yeah. So future, let's we'll wrap it up. What do you think Deadpool 2? We've already know Cable's going to be in it. What do you think? What's the storyline? What do you see as far as them doing with Deadpool?
I have no idea.
I think they run a brothel together in the future.
I think they have to go abroad. I want to see, like we always talk about Thor and Hulk being the Hope and Crosby of the Marvel Universe. I'd love to see Cable and Deadpool go on some European romp.
I want to see them sing a song together. That'd be fantastic.
They probably start out as enemies at first, like Cable's some bad guy, and then they send Deadpool after him, and they become boys afterwards.
Yeah.
Well, like what you said earlier, I was like, I want to see the time traveling Cable. I don't want it to just be some mechanic like, yeah, my name's Cable. Like, I want the actual real origin, the Cable origin.
I think the time travel part has to be a part of it.
Yeah.
And I think it will be because it also can open the door to a lot of other stuff.
Well, they can also do an epic science fiction film, do the whole Ascani's son storyline, which is awesome, which would be great. I mean, Fox is good with sci-fi.
Well, this is going to wrap it up for our special extra sweaty spoiler edition of Deadpool. I want to thank all the guests that we had here. Umberto, where can people find you online?
You can find me at heroichollywood.com, at Heroic Hollywood on Twitter, Instagram, Facebook, and personally at El Mayimbe on Twitter.
Awesome. Thank you for being on. Robert Meyer Burnett, where can Hot Toys find you?
Well, you can find me on, let me give you my home address. You can find me Instagram, RM Burnett, Twitter, Burnett RM, or on Facebook at Robert Meyer Burnett.
Awesome. Thanks for being on the show. Stephen Frosty Weintraub, where can people find you? If you're not being found on Collider News, where can people find you?
Besides Collider.com, I'm on Twitter and Instagram as Collider Frosty.
Awesome. And you guys can follow me at, just on Twitter, Instagram, just at Jon Schnepp. You can find my film, The Death of Superman Lives, What Happened, at TDOSLWH.com. And I'm launching a Kickstarter next week called Sweaties Unite, Rise of the Uber Nerd. It's a brand new documentary about the rise of superhero movies and the fall of comic book stores. Can we merge them? Can we save them? Can we merge them? That's kind of the documentary that I'm going to be making, and I'm going to be talking to filmmakers, comic book writers, and artists. So take a look for that. It'll be dropping on Kickstarter next week, and your support will be necessary. So take care. Thanks for watching Collider Heroes, very special episode 45. Bam. Brofist and yo. Bam.
There you go.
I'll see you later.
Hey guys, if you like this video, click the thumbs up button. Also, make sure you subscribe to our YouTube channel. It'll help you stay up to date with everything we've got going on here at Collider.